This week, we're talking about buyer's markets, seller's markets, and a balanced market.
Hi guys, I'm back. I was on a really extended, long vacation. Are you excited to have me back?
I'm super excited. It was a lonely 3 weeks. I mean, we had some cool guests while you were gone. Alex, Albert, and then I went solo on the last episode because I couldn't find anybody to fill in.
No.
Super happy to have a co-host back on the regular.
Awesome.
It makes a big difference.
And I'm excited to be back. I was in Europe for a bit and the lifestyle there is really slow and I'm just excited to get back into our fast pace.
You like it, the fast pace, I know. It's
I don't
nice
know
to
with this
visit.
market now, so we'll see.
Yeah, hey, in a balanced market. You may notice that we're in a different sort of studio. If you've been watching every week, you know that we had a flood in our studio a few weeks ago. So we actually decided to take that as an opportunity to start to create our own studio in our Upper James office because we were using a studio space. So
if you have any suggestions on how to make us look less floating on our beautiful green wall, we're going to put a sign here and then we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll get the show logo. It's a work in progress, maybe a high top, maybe a couch. I don't know, but it's all growing. That's what I love about this show is it's super organic and it kind of grows as we grow.
Yeah, we hope you guys grow with us.
I guess that's what the wall is growing.
Yeah.
Right? But let's dive into our first market. I guess you want to talk about a balanced market first?
Let's go
Start in the
balanced.
middle?
Yeah.
Okay. Because a balanced market is actually the market we're in right now.
Exactly. So a balanced market, if you've joined into our other episodes, sits around 3 to 5 months of inventory. We're roughly in between that right now. I think we're all used to this seller's market and we've just kind of made a quick shift with the interest rates and here we are. So.
Yeah. And I mean, so a balanced market, if you're not aware, if you haven't watched the show before, we talk about months of inventory all the time. Essentially, months of inventory is if no other house on the market were to sell, how long it would take for all the active listings to sell. So between 3 months to 5 months, that's your balanced market. Right now, we're pretty much in a balanced market across the board. Except, well, Binbrook's in a buyer's market, but we'll touch about that in the buyer's market section. But yeah, buyer's market's super cool because I find that balanced market, it's super cool because it's my favorite market. It gives great opportunities for buyers and good opportunities for sellers. But let's talk about the buyers first. As a buyer in this market, in a balanced market, what's involved with that? Pros and cons, I guess.
So the benefits to a buyer is, I mean, like Justin says, it's his favorite because it gives you a lot more time to react. There's not as much panic decisions. You can put conditions on your offer, conditions on finance, conditions on inspections, all these things we never saw just a few months ago. So it's kind of exciting for a buyer.
You said a key thing there that I didn't even think of, but it makes so much sense is you can take your time. Like you don't have to act and react so fast. I mean,
it was a reactive market that we were experiencing for.
You have to be quick. You look at a house offer. Now, like I took buyers out the other day. We looked at, I think, 15, 16 houses. And by the following Monday, all the houses were still available. There was no, okay, just find one and buy it. Like there's that time. And then it gives you the opportunity to put the conditions in, which is great. The financing, the home inspection. If you got to sell a property to purchase it, you can put that in as well. But let's shift into sellers then. As sellers, what should you expect in a balanced market?
So sellers, I think on us as realtors, our position is now we're kind of managing these expectations that your house may not sell as quickly as we saw just a few months ago. So you have to be okay and not panic with that. My house might sit for a month and a half, and it will get it sold, but it's not going to happen overnight. It might.
It might. I mean, and that's the thing with the balanced market. Like in a balanced market, pricing is super important, especially because the price really affects it. I mean, if you overprice it in a balanced market, you're going to sit. If you underprice it, you'll still go quickly in that balanced market, right? It's a little more sensitive that way, whereas before in the seller's market, everything was go,
rolling, right?
Yeah. So with sellers, patience is definitely key, realizing that you could be sitting for 30, 60 days, right? And not being as panicked to sell like you, I guess, like you would be otherwise. Like, it's good. That's a good thing about the balanced market.
If your house is sitting longer than 60 days, though, let's talk,
Yeah.
because that's long.
Hey, it all depends, right? It all
Yeah.
comes down to the pricing again. And I mean, it's not just pricing too. Like, now more than ever, I think you really, really, as a realtor, need to use the tools that you have to market these properties. It's
Absolutely.
not just throw it up and people are going to come through the door. You have to start coming up with creative ways to drive buyers through the door and get as many eyeballs as possible
Yeah.
on your listing.
And kind of like what we've said lots of times in the past, you need to reach bigger databases, getting it on the Toronto board, not just Hamilton.
Yeah. Absolutely. So if you guys got questions about a balanced market, what's entailed with it, because that's the current market that we're in, let us know. Drop a comment below. As well, be sure to like the video, because then it gets put in front of more people that want to enjoy content like this.
Now let's shift into where we were in the past few months. A seller's market, and it rapidly changed it feels like almost overnight, but
Yeah.
we were there for a bit.
Yeah. I mean, well, we were there for more than a bit. We were there since COVID. It's been
Yeah.
a 2-year run
Yeah.
of basically a seller's market.
It was a huge run.
Yeah. So, I mean, sellers basically got to pick everything. They got to choose when their closing dates were. You didn't have to worry about conditions. I mean, that was the time that if you had a house that wasn't the greatest house, wasn't located in the best location, that was the time to sell it. And that in a seller's market is generally what you do, you know, like backing onto hydro, being on a main street,
Yeah,
stuff like
absolutely.
that, train tracks running across your backyard,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Those are things that you got away with in a seller's market, you know, but you're not going to get away with it now.
Yeah. So, in terms of as a buyer, you were pretty much gobbling up anything you could because you didn't know how much higher the prices were going to go.
Yeah, and you were at a huge disadvantage because you weren't allowed to put in conditions. I mean, I don't think I did a home inspection for over a year, like an actual home inspection. We did those pre-inspections, but an actual 3-hour inspection. Financing
No.
was like a thing of the past.
Yeah.
You didn't even, it was the last thing you were worried
Almost
about.
forgot about
Everybody
it.
was, just thinking, oh yeah, I talked to my broker. We're good to go, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, appraisals were coming through. Things were rolling because prices just kept going up.
Typically,
So-
I found closes were fast too. So
Yeah.
the appraisals were happening quicker.
Yeah, and then even, you know, in terms of being a seller, shifting to the seller side, I mean, it's called the seller's market for a reason, and the reason being it benefits the seller. So, you know, as I touched on, it was a lot easier to sell a property back then. You knew you were going to get people through the door, and you could really command what you wanted. But I don't miss the seller's market at all.
Did you find it stressful?
It was, you know what? That was a long year last
Which
year.
side would you have rather been on, the seller or the
I would have
buyer?
rather been, well, neither. I would have rather been balanced. Obviously, seller.
Yeah.
You know, you want to be on this. Obviously, you wanted the listings
Obviously.
last year because
Yeah.
they sold.
Your
You
phone
knew it
was
gonna
off the hook,
sell,
right?
Right. You could stage it 3D. So you spend all the money, do all that as a realtor,
Yeah.
spend the money on the marketing, and you got it back. Right?
Exactly.
Whereas, you know, in a balanced market, you got to really work to get these sales done, which I prefer because it's what we do. We're real estate agents. We're not just here to fill out paperwork and take orders all the time.
Yeah.
Right. We want to make these deals happen. That's the fun part of it when I first got into it, you know, so
I liked it. It
definitely-
was exciting.
it was
But-
fast paced.
but it needed to end, I
why? 'Cause
think.
I think because you got in sort of the tail end there.
Yeah.
You weren't in it for the full run.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I was so tired.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys got questions about a seller's market, what do you think of the seller's market? Are you not happy to see that we're out of this market? I know that I am. Drop comment below if you got questions about the seller's market or where we're heading, what this balanced market looks like. As well, be sure to like this video. All right, now let's go to where we are heading, and we are heading into a buyer's market. I think we're going to be there by the end of the year if things keep going the way that they're going.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. There's a few more anticipated interest hikes by the Bank of Canada. So I think we know where we're headed with this one.
Yeah, the few hikes shifted us from that seller's market into a balanced market. Now, some parts of Hamilton actually already are in a buyer's market. For instance, Binbrook is already there. So if you have a house that you need to sell in Binbrook, it's going to take you a lot longer because buyers have a lot of options. Like if you look right now, the time we're filming this, what's today's date? July what?
22nd.
22nd. There's a lot of houses
Yeah.
if you're looking. So, and there's not as many sales. Like I've been showing people houses there and they're thinking, well, you know, lots of homes to choose from. I don't know if I'm going to jump necessarily right now. So they're in a full buyer's market. If you're looking to buy there, if you want to live in Binbrook, well, this is your time.
They're also, I find they're those bigger, they're pushing the million price range too, right?
Yeah.
So they are going to sit a
they're
little
newer.
longer.
Yeah, they're newer too, right?
I personally love Binbrook, but
Yeah.
property, space.
Well, in the new subdivision, not so much. I mean, in the rural area for sure, but the newer subdivision, I feel like it's no different than Ancaster.
That's
Just
true.
way cheaper, and you're getting newer homes compared to the Meadowlands.
That's true.
But with the buyer's market, so let's talk about how that affects buyers. The buyer's market's called a buyer's market for a reason. That's because it benefits the buyers. So what this means is you really have a lot of options when it comes to purchasing a house. Put as many conditions in there as you want. Finance, inspection. You want to put a condition in for home insurance? Put it in.
Yeah.
Right?
As we're going into the fall, this is when we're going to start telling our clients who were originally priced out of the market, it might be time to start looking and locking in some rates and jumping back in and exploring your options, because what was it? This will be 2 weeks ahead now, but last week our housing prices in Hamilton alone dropped 100,000 just from that one rate change. So it's giving you more of an opportunity to maybe, even we were talking about this, you could get up the mountain, whereas you couldn't do that last year or the year before.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the conversation we had with the court. Yeah, we had somebody looking for an investment property up to 800, and they were thinking, oh, could I get something like a duplex or triplex? Duplex even. Do you think I get a duplex downtown for 800? I was thinking now, you could get a duplex on the mountain now for, well, not quite yet, but it's going to be there soon. Yeah. If the trajectory of prices keeps going down the way that it's been going down, it's going to be there soon. So that's something to consider too. It is a good time. One thing I've noticed, one of my listings that I had, we're getting a lot of feedback on it, and a lot of the feedback is buyers just started looking. They're not ready to make an offer yet, which I'm getting a lot of that, which indicates to me that it's first time buyers jumping in, or people that got cut out of the market are now coming back into it because it's affordable.
I think that is too, because I have a few friends who have also messaged me, should I go get a rate now? Is it time?
Lock it in.
Just lock it in.
We know it's going to go up.
You have 120 days. You might as well go put your foot in the door with a rate. Yeah,
because once it goes up, then your affordability drops, right? The important thing in a market like this is you don't want to buy at the very bottom, because then you're paying the absolute most in interest.
Yeah.
You kind of want to buy on the way down and then realize real estate is a long-term investment, which kind of everybody's head got screwed up over the last few years, but it is a long-term investment that you have to ride out for 3-4 years. So buy it on the way down, ride it back up, because historically, we know these prices are going to come back up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we are in a housing shortage, like we've touched on before. So again, historically, we know they're going to come back up.
Yeah, it's really just the rate and the unknown that's affecting a lot of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we didn't touch on this part, but it's the financing and the inspections that you can really hammer in now as a first-time buyer. So if you're kind of worried about your finances, this is your chance to put that in there, and there won't be as great a consequences for you.
And then I think we also even skipped about talking about the seller side in a buyer market. Yeah. But the seller side in a buyer market isn't the funnest thing. You're really sitting. You're competing with your home against a ton of other properties. You really have to stand out, or you have to price incredibly correct, because if there's 4 or 5 other houses in your area for sale and you're the most expensive, it's very unlikely your house is going to sell unless it really justifies it.
I think that point right there it's really important to know the comparables within your neighborhood, because if you are the most expensive on that street, you may be the guinea pig for what other people are offering on the other houses.
Yeah, I've seen it in previous markets when I was selling that, sometimes I'd have a listing, another listing would come up and it would be so high. I remember thinking, wow, that guy's price is going to sell my listing because it's so high. People are going to look at mine and say, wow, that one's cheap. So you got to be cognizant of those things as a seller. You got to realize that we're going to get you maximum dollar, but it's not going to be that huge wow factor unless your house itself has that huge wow factor.
Yeah.
So that's where things, when we were talking about it, go back to our old videos, because we did talk about this. I know we're getting a little long here on time, but we did talk about this, where we said, always be sure where you buy, because you don't want to buy on things that down the road aren't going to appeal to people. For instance, busy streets, hydro, had the train tracks backing onto you, like stuff like that. Those sort of things are the things that now, like we talked about,
no one thought about when you're buying your house across from the railroad just to get in the market. Yeah.
So now those are things that are going to come back and bite you a little bit, but you just have to understand you will still sell. You may just have to price it lower, price it accordingly to what somebody would be willing to pay to now live with something like that.
Absolutely.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this week. I love that you tune in every week. I love Brandy. Thanks for coming back.
I hope you guys missed me.
I missed you. It's always fun filming. So we have so much fun here.
Stay tuned for our studio updates.
Yeah.
We got some fun stuff coming.
I know. I can't wait to see it grow and evolve and change. But be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you like the content that we're putting out, because that's going to help it go in front of other people that want to see content like this.
Hey, and also if you have any questions about how to sell in this market, we're totally down to help you out. So just drop us in the DM.
Absolutely. Even how to buy in this market, because there's a lot more. This is where we can start negotiating. So yeah, questions about buying and stuff, let us know, because we got a lot of tricks up our sleeves. So anyways, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next week.
See you later.